A service level objective is basically just saying my system should be doing something, and that's the SLI, what it should be doing. It should be doing something some percentage of the time, right? So you could say this API should respond to, a valid request within 2 seconds, 99% of the time, right? Mm-hmm. That's a very basic SLO. And then you would look at that like on a 30-day rolling basis. You could have something for maybe a sort of a batch system that says, hey, this job should complete successfully and return correct data within an hour, 99% of the time, right? So you're really just defining in terms of what the goal is from a customer standpoint. If you look at maybe more of a front end user journey, you might have like a login screen, right? You should say a user with a correct password should be able to log in and see the homepage load within 2 seconds, 99.9% of the time, right? Whatever it is. And then there's some complexity around like creating multiple thresholds for the long tail and all of that starts to get pretty interesting. But that's the basics of service level objectives. And then what gets interesting is if you take the inverse of that objective of that 99%, what you're really saying with that SLO is 1% of the time, I actually want it to fail. I'm actually willing to accept 1% unreliability. And the phrasing that we use for that 1% is the error budget, right? I have an error budget of 1% for this service level objective.
And that'll vary between objectives.
Exactly. And then what's nice is you can kind of change your frame of mind in that we're not actually trying to hit some number of nines of availability. We're trying to burn less than a certain amount of error budget. And actually, it's a good thing to burn that error budget, because if you're not, you're actually potentially introducing other problems. There's a very famous system at Google, I think this has been publicly talked about, called Stubby, that basically had a certain objective in terms of their availability that was not 5 nines, like probably 2 nines or 3 nines, sure. But the system never went down, right? They were never burning that error budget because it was a pretty straightforward system. And so others started to take dependencies on them, basically assuming a much higher level of reliability than the system was being managed to, right? If you want to get to 5 nines, for example, you got to have a team of at least, 8 SREs. You have to have somebody always within 5 minutes of a keyboard, right? So if you're not doing those things, it's very dangerous to assume, to take a dependency.
So if Stubby goes down suddenly.
Yeah. And so there's teams at Google that will even cause outages, and, people call it chaos engineering or whatever, just to burn that error budget, right? You actually want to make your system as unreliable as you can. And that is, that's kind of how you drive efficiency.